What is up, Dog Pound? Welcome on into the Dawgland podcast. I am Jackson McCurry. Anthony Jokey unfortunately could not make it to the show tonight. We know the weather's been crazy in Ohio, but I did get our other brother of the Dogland, Jake Samulak, aka Jake Hurricane. You guys have seen him on the Scarlet to the Lamb podcast, which is taking off and doing extremely well. Jake, thanks for filling in on such short notice, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love working with you guys and lots of good things to get into and looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And our boy Jeff, who's over in the Barking Browns Discord, said hit that like button. We have accumulated a mass new number of subscribers here in the last month. Appreciate everybody that has done so. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you go and hit that subscribe button for more Browns content that'll be coming up through the preseason, the regular season, and of course the off season. Trying to get to that number 200. Go subscribe to the Barking Browns because we have a wager with them. If they hit 2,000, we already know Jacob Roach is going to do the one chip challenge. But if we hit 200 by the regular season, both of those have to happen. Me and Anthony are going to do the one chip challenge with them as well. So make sure you guys spread the word to all the rest of the Dog Pound and let's go.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I might have to go make like, what is 40 short, right, at 200?
We are 40 short right now.
Yeah. I have to go make 40 new accounts because I want to that one chip challenge.
Oh, I know. I was telling my girlfriend, I'm like, I told them I'd do the one chip challenge, and she looked at me and she's like, good luck to you. And yeah, the things I will do. I never thought I'd be that person, but I'll do it just to help our other Browns podcasts out achieve their goals as well.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
So the last time we did a podcast was last week, Jake, me and Anthony, and all hell broke loose on Saturday with the quarterback competition, which if people don't know, this is how it's going throughout camp. One day it would be Deshaun Watson with the first team, and then it would rotate to Shedeur Sanders. That's how it had gone all throughout camp. Saturday was supposed to be Shedeur Sanders Day, and lo and behold, we get to Todd Monken's media session, and he says Shedeur's going to take all the reps, he said it's going to be all the reps. Watson might get some 7-on-7 stuff. Yes, Todd, it will be a live stream. We will coordinate something with the Barking Browns to make this happen for sure. So everybody go subscribe and get us to 200 by the time the opener starts. So Shedeur was going to be the first team guy to get all the first team reps on Saturday. And then lo and behold, it all of a sudden became Deshaun Watson got all the first team reps. A lot of people started speculating something happened. It just turned into utter chaos. And it turned into like 48 plus hours of speculation, reckless speculation of what was happening. We thought maybe there'd be a resolution to the starting quarterback position. There still isn't as of this live stream, but the quarterback competition, it's starting to really get tiresome. I feel like we need a resolution at this point, but so much chaos, so much speculation between Watson and Shador, it just turned into an utter clown show, which is what the Browns have been over the years, and this is just the latest example of it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was really looking forward to hearing, him address everything, which I didn't get to watch a whole lot of it, but I kind of, got the gist, and it seemed like he kind of beat around the bush a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll pull the quote up here once you're done.
yeah, and like everybody knows where I stand. If you follow me on X, like I'm done with the whole Deshaun Watson show, but I can understand Todd Monken's mindset. He's going to play the guy that gives him the best chance to win, and if it is Deshaun Watson, I'm not there, so I just don't think he is. But I wish they would just get this thing figured out. It'll be interesting going into this game Saturday because we heard Monken say he wants to give the starters a series. So is Deshaun Watson going to start that game and just play a series? Because that would tell me everything that I need to know. Then you should just name him the starting quarterback. I would expect to see both of them quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he says they're only going to play a series, which essentially is one drive. You're going to play Watson only one drive, a guy that hasn't played in over almost 2 years, a guy that needs live game reps, and even Shador needs live game reps.
Yeah.
Being he's only got 7 career starts, like he needs it. But I just see, you know, Minnesota announced today Kyler Murray's going to be the starting quarterback. Before a preseason game, that competition, which it wasn't really, I don't think ever really a competition between him and J.J. McCarthy, but they just kind of put all the speculation to rest and that said, Kyler's our guy. This is who we're going with. And we're moving on into essentially getting ready for the regular season. The Browns, every indication is they're going to let this game go through, the joint practice next week in Buffalo, and then the preseason game in Buffalo, and then maybe they announce the starting quarterback. I think that's wrong, and I don't know if that's what the plan was all along. Obviously, I don't think it was because during the spring, Monken wanted to name a starter at the end of all the spring practices and everything, and obviously things changed. But we're 33 days away from the regular season, and I feel like you're settling position battles at other position groups, but you're still trying to determine who your starting quarterback is. I just feel like they need to go with somebody, whether it's Watson, whether it's Sanders, and let this whole entire offensive unit start to gel.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I mean, even if that is Deshaun Watson, it's getting down to that point where these guys need to start gelling because we already know how bad our offense was last year. I don't expect some massive improvement. I think it can improve because I trust Monken, new offensive scheme. I think he's going to want to get the ball out quick. I think you're going to see a lot more screens in this offense, which I'm all for because we don't have that much talent off. I mean, I love Denzel Boston, love Harold Fannin, love what we got in them, but we're young. So yeah, I'm with you 100%. Even if it is Deshaun, you gotta hammer this out and get this just out in the open. Let everybody know and let these guys start working together fully.
Yeah, for sure. Let me pull up that quote that Munkin had on Monday because obviously that was like the first major question that the media asked, and this is how he explained it. It really was that Shador took the one Saturday, so I anticipated him being with the ones. When I walked out, the guys grabbed me and said, "Hey, the last couple of days we've been looking at it, and Shador's got a few more reps with the ones." That's all it was, and that doesn't like yes, Shador has gotten his fair share of the first team reps, but since last week, and I think it was Chops, obviously, who's doing the um, quarterback tracker for ESPN Cleveland with Tony Grossi, and he said like Watson has gotten a significant amount of first team reps since like last Thursday or Wednesday. I forget what the exact day was that it got tracked, but Watson obviously has been building up momentum. He had really solid 3 or 4 practices in a row. Up until I think it was yesterday, he did struggle somewhat, and today they struggled as well. But like he was building up the momentum. Um, it, he wasn't turning the ball over as much as he did like those first 7 or 8 practices, and obviously Shador was playing really well at that point too. But like I said, it just needs to come to an end. They need to name a starter. Maybe Watson or Shador comes out this week in the preseason game, blows the roof off of the game of everybody's expectations, and Monken just says, "Okay, one of those guys is going to be my starting quarterback. Let's move forward."
And that's what I'm most excited about Saturday. It's like I don't think you're only going to see one of these guys get one series with the starters. This is looking to be like a legitimate QB battle. So maybe we do see a huge amount of both of these guys, and we get a better idea of what Monken's going to do. That would be what I would want as Todd Monken right now. I would want to give these guys some reps. Deshaun needs reps, obviously. The guy hasn't played 8 consecutive games in 6 years. So he needs all the reps that he can freaking get. And then Shedeur obviously need reps. We've seen him struggle last year. But this is obviously they're toe-and-toe right now trying to win this job. So I would give them each, I would back and forth. I don't even care. Get them rolling. Let them see the same kind of coverages, same players out there. And let's get this just on the way, man. Like, I'm ready to have this quarterback name because it just is. It's like a black cloud that everybody knows. Like you said, we're 33 days away from the season. It needs to get done.
Yeah. And there's a couple people in the chat saying that Monken is trolling the media. I don't think so because they're out at practice every day. They're still alternating reps with the first team offense. I don't know if he's really trolling the media. I'm sure he has a good idea who he thinks is going to be the starting quarterback, but at the same time, his actions say otherwise. Like, yes, Watson got almost another full day of first team reps than Deshaun did, but he's saying like we want to see each one of these guys start a preseason game, get it out there with the first team offense in a live game. I don't know if trolling is something Todd Monken can do. He's a 60-year-old coach. This could be his one shot at being a head coach. I don't really think like he's in the thing to be trolling, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. I don't think he's trolling at all. Part of me feels like we started to kind of get that feeling that Deshaun may be kind of leading. And then when we come back out of practice this week, we're getting Shedeur with the first team again all over again. It makes you really think like, okay, like if he really thought, Deshaun was taking that next step when he put together a few good practices last week, that would have been telling to come back out on Monday to see him back with the ones, which we didn't get that. It was Shedeur. So I really think at this point, like I would still lean Deshaun just from what we've been hearing and seeing online. But I'm still at the point to where like even if he comes out and names Shedeur the starter, I wouldn't be shocked. Maybe they're that close and he's waiting for Deshaun to pull away and it's not happening, at least to what he wants. And then he'll name shit like you just don't know. And like you said, this is his one opportunity. He's 60 years old. I don't think he's going to troll and mess around with the media. I think Todd Monken means business. He's been that way everywhere he's been. So I think this is a legit battle, and that's what has me so excited about Saturday. Like we have a legit QB battle going on between these two guys, and I expect both of them to play a lot.
Are you aware of Blistergate that our boy Bill mentioned in the chat?
Blister. Well, I've seen something. What is this?
So a lot of the Shedeur fans, and I know that H Boog 32, I think is like his personal QB coach. He said that Shedeur has a blister on his throwing hand on one of the fingers, and the Shedeur fans are attributing it to the football's not being doctored the way he likes, like the mudding and everything, which I find that to be completely BS because I would feel like the equipment team would have footballs ready to go for each quarterback to their liking. I think that's just a BS conspiracy theory. But yeah, they're saying that Shedeur is a blister and that's why he hasn't been throwing the ball as well, because I know you've seen it because I've seen it too. Some of the throws coming out of Shedeur's hands, they look really wobbly. Now Watson has too. I'm not trying to, create controversy there, but Shedeur, like the ball's not coming out accurately with the right like RPMs and everything, and that's a cause for concern for a guy coming out of his second year. So maybe he has a blister, but it's so funny because Blistergate was a thing going around on Brown's Twitter here the last couple of days.
I got my Shedeur jersey on tonight. I'm a fan of him. I have been. Watched him at Texas State. I really believe he has traits that can transit. He can be a franchise quarterback. But I will say, when it comes to the way he's throwing the ball right now, his processing, these are all concerns that I did have. I thought, this would get corrected, and I'm still seeing a lot of these same issues. So the whole crazy Buff fan base, that will make it blister gate now. I just think, he hasn't taken. I think in some areas, I think his processing has been better. I think we've seen him get the ball out a little quicker at times, but he's still holding it too long. So you're seeing small improvements, but we haven't seen him really take that next leap. So that's why I think we're in the position that we are right now. I think they thought he'd be a little bit further along than what he actually is. So I'm not going to get into he's got blisters. We all knew that Shador threw some wobblers at times, and you expect him in the off season. He posts all the work he puts in, and I'm not saying he wasn't putting in a lot of work because he was, at least on video. And I expected these balls to be a lot tighter right now.
Anthony is in the chat, and he did mention our Substack, which we will get to because I have not gotten to it yet. But that's one of the things we are planning on talking about tonight. Is the launch of our Substack page, which hopefully guys go and subscribe to that. It's free. I know there's other Substacks that there's a subscription, and kudos to them as well. Like in journalism, like that's a good way to go out and promote your product and get compensated for it. So definitely go check out Substack, not just for us, but there's plenty of others. Bill, obviously his Spark Scouting is there as well as Brown's film breakdown. But before we get to that, Jake, it's that time of the year. It doesn't mean a damn thing, but we got the unofficial Browns depth chart. Let's talk about it.
Let's do
I'm
it.
actually gonna check this. Oh, that's actually better. So, not a surprise with quarterback Deshaun Watson or Shador Sanders. Todd Monken made that crystal clear to everybody that there would not be a first team or second team quarterback. It's the or in the middle. Um, Jake, did you if you got to look at this real quick? Was there any glances or any observations you've made about this depth chart? Because it means nothing. They have to put it out, obviously. So, was there anything that caught your eye when it comes to this Browns unofficial depth chart?
In all honesty, like you said, it means absolutely nothing, so I don't read too much into it. But the one intriguing thing was the Miles Harden, as the slot starting corner. If I read that right,
it's complicated because they're just the backup corner, so it's kind of hard to say who's going to be in the slot. And
I mean, I feel like everything kind of looked the way that I really thought it would. To be completely honest with you, like nothing really shocked me, and like you said, like it's hard for me to really care, because it's the first depth chart. We know what this means. Like, I love the Deshaun Watson or Shador Sanders as the the one guy at the QB. But no, I mean, I think everything kind of is looking the way that I really expected it to look this early.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way too. Like we know, right guard is still a tested, highly tested competition between Jenkins and Leveston. Leveston's obviously gotten the majority of the first team reps so far throughout camp because Jenkins was sidelined, but nothing really stands out except maybe you can say Easton Mascarenas Arnold as the third linebacker. I know a lot of people don't really know that guy, but I've heard his name a lot through training camp so far, so that's a guy that I think we should keep an eye on during the preseason. Obviously, he's fighting with Nathaniel Watson, Justin Jefferson, and Winston Reed for those linebacker snaps behind Swessinger and Quincy Williams. But yeah, everything is pretty much as expected. Chris Edmonds, maybe as the fourth safety, essentially behind Delpit Hickman and McNeil Warren, I think was surprising because I thought Daniel Thomas would be ahead of him. But like I said, this depth chart really means nothing. Obviously, Malachi Corley is the kick returner because we really haven't heard his name when it comes to kick returner. We've heard Larvadan, heard Concepcion, but also I think it was either Munkin or the offensive coordinator, Switzer. They pretty much said that's going to depend on their role in the wide receiver room. Because if you're not gonna have a starting wide receiver back there as the kick returner, that's just adding the risk of injury. But yeah, the depth chart, we talk about it. It doesn't really mean much, but it just gives us content to discuss these kind of things. So
yeah, when it came to I kind of just expected Tevin to be in the one slot right now. I mean, I know Leviston has been getting the majority of the reps because we all know even when we signed Jenkins, he's battled injuries. So I expect to see KT at some point this year because I just don't know. I think Jenkins is the better player at right guard, but it's you got to stay healthy, man. I did like that they brought him back, which was great because I think he is a solid starting caliber player when he's healthy. You just got to stay healthy. So I mean that's something to watch. And like you said, Easton. I mean we knew this. Like, I mean, seeing him slotted, for that third linebacker role right now, I would say, yeah, I guess that you could say that's a little bit of a surprise. Like you said, not a lot of people are familiar with it. But it's just really hard to look at these first ones, and pretend that we can make some huge read on everything.
Right. It literally means nothing. Monken literally said, he goes, if it says Watson as the starter and Sanders at second team or vice versa, he goes, it's the PR guy's fault. Peter John Baptiste. So that just tells you the coaches have nothing to do with it. It's all PR generated and gives us a topic point on these podcasts to talk about. So it's all in good fun, honestly.
Yeah.
All righty. So, well, actually, since we're talking about this, let's talk about the fact that on Monday, before the quarterback thing got brought up, Todd Monken mentioned that Spencer Fano was moving up to first team left tackle. Denzel Boston brought up to first team wide receiver. He even said he's in the X. It's not a surprise, honestly. Fano having a killer training camp, our first round pick, our top 10 pick. He's been having a great camp. Started out slow, obviously going up against Jared Verse every day. He's been getting better and better. Today was rough for him at camp. Definitely got beat quite a few times, but not surprised he earned this, as well as Denzel Boston, who's been the talk of camp day in and day out outside of the quarterback competition. Just keeps making spectacular catches, keeps making plays, and honestly, like I think he might be the steal of the draft at this point for the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, we got to see him once he gets out in a regular season game, and hopefully he can produce. But I feel like this is the guy that could be the next number one wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns. And honestly, I think it's the smart thing for him to be the number one because I don't think Jerry Jeudy is a number one wide receiver in the NFL. I think Denzel Boston can be. Getting Jerry back into the number two role or even the number three role if Casey Concepcion keeps making play after play. I feel like the wide receiver room has gotten so much better.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm really looking forward, to that group. Fannin, I don't expect him to have another 70+ catch year because of it. But I think, with Fano, I think the conversation, you're forcing young guys to play them pretty much with the way that they've stood out. And I love the whole little scuffle that Verse and him got into, which for me, you heard people talk about it in LA, like his leadership. And I think Verse, invited that. He wanted that to happen. And you've seen Verse, after practice working with Fano after a rough day. But then when you seen that fight break out, Fano actually was up under them shoulder pads, with a good rep, which caused everything to happen, whatever. Denzel, like you said, steal of the draft. I think it's very possible that ends up being the case. I think him and Casey are going to be a great 1-2 punch. You got a yak guy that obviously his drop issues, a lot of people were concerned about it, myself included. Our guy Bill Sparks, though, kind of talked me into the whole just see the ball in. I played wide out, so I understand that. It's definitely a thing. You're trying to make moves before you actually get the ball in your hands that will cause those little drops. Seen it early in camp, and now you're seeing a lot of great plays he's making and extraordinary catches. He's seeing the ball in. That's what you got to do at this level. So, Denzel, I think, is just that contested catch guy, good route runner. He's physical. And as long as he stays healthy, I think he's going to beat up on cornerbacks in this league for a long time.
Yeah, without a doubt. With Casey, I saw it was either Watson or Sanders yesterday when they were indoors, and it was just not a good throw. And for all the talk about Casey's drops and everything, guy made a nice two-handed catch, got the ball when it looked like it was just another bad throw. And I think that he's putting it to bed. Obviously, you got to get in games, you got to do it when you're being draped by a corner and what have you, but everything looks good out of those two rookie receivers, and I am so happy they addressed it early. Back-to-back picks, their own picks, obviously, but getting KC and then getting Denzel Boston in the second round, I could not believe we got him at that point. It was one of the steals of the draft by far. but yeah, they just keep growing as receivers, and I can't wait to see them in a game situation this weekend against Chicago. But I've loved everything I've seen, as well as Spencer Fano. And you mentioned like him and Jared Verse getting into it. Charles Bentley, obviously former offensive lineman, former Cleveland Brown, and he obviously coaches up offensive lineman now. And he goes, I did not know if Spencer Fano had that dog in him coming out of Utah. And he goes, that right there showed it. He's not willing to lay down for Jared Verse, which I think is great. The fact that you're willing to stand up to one of the best pass rushers in the league and standing your ground, like he's taking the coaching that Joe Thomas has given him, like he's everything we hoped we were getting out of a first round left tackle, unlike the last one we did in the first round. Like
It's a
everything's looked
completely different player than Jed. Completely.
everything's been good as advertised so far for Spencer Fano and the rest of the rookies. Like McNeil Warren's making an impact, getting first team reps at safety. I just feel like Andrew Berry so far has had a solid first couple rounds of this draft, but obviously we got to wait to see what they do in the regular season.
Yeah, yeah. Fano, the thing I like not knowing if somebody has that dog in him. When you see these clips of Fano, he's just kind of like goofy. Have you seen some of the? He's just like a goofball. Like so, I feel like it's easy to like kind of look at a guy like that. Like, does he got dog? Is he just trying to be ornery and mess around with his teammates? But I'm with you. I think Jared Verse getting that reaction out of him and him answering that call against a player like Jared Verse shows you what kind of mentality he has, which is exactly what you want in a franchise left tackle. Casey and Denzel, they seem like they got good mindsets, just out there trying to get better every day. I like what we did on the offensive line, not only in free agency, but also with these young guys. Barber was taking some snap. Was that at right tackle? I believe I seen he was taking on. Okay,
He was at left tackle today, and Dewan was at right tackle. Which
okay, that's what it was. Yeah, Dewan, I just want to say shout out to him, man. He looks fantastic.
He does. I feel really good about the offensive tackle room, the depth we have, and the fact that they're cross training them to play both left and right. I think that's smart. Obviously, Dewan's played both during his career so far. Austin Barber, I think, was primarily a right tackle at Florida. So obviously, give him that experience at left tackle for sure.
Yeah, that's a good thing about AB finally. I mean, I don't expect our offensive line just to be absolutely dominant, but I mean it's going to be better, which was absolutely needed. And when you bring in this amount of veterans along with some of this rookie class, this will give them that opportunity to go out there and battle and get better. And they're mixing them up, putting them in positions they might not be used to give them a future on this offensive line, because in a couple of years, this is their job.
Absolutely. Appreciate everybody being interactive in the chat. We appreciate you all. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. My brother asked, what was the extent of the most recent Zinter injury? Don't know. They have not asked. The media has not asked Munkin, obviously because they're focused on the quarterback competition and some other things, but definitely a crushing blow because Zinter obviously was a top 100 pick a couple years ago, has not panned out yet. You were hoping maybe he could be one of these guards before they had added in free agency and whatnot. But Zinter looking like a bust of a draft pick. And I don't know if he's ever fully recovered physically and mentally from the leg break he suffered at Michigan, but you just hate to see him not been able to contribute so far.
Yeah, I had a first round grade on him coming out of the draft, obviously until he broke his leg, but I was still very comfortable taking him in the second round. I believe we got him in the third. I thought it was a complete steal. He just needed to get healthy. And like you said, I think it could be a mindset thing, and his body's just completely given out on him, it seems like. Which I did see he was still second on the depth chart. That's what I'm talking about. We have no idea how extensive his injury is, which is why I just can't find myself to read into too much with it all. But it's unfortunate, because he was a very talented player at Michigan, and I really expected him to be a huge part of our future on the offensive line. And it's just at this point, I mean, never say never, but I think we all know where Zach Zinter's career is headed, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for sure because he was a top 100 pick, and you hope those guys can contribute at least heading into year 3, and he just hasn't yet. We talked about the quarterbacks earlier, Jake, but I just got to bring this comment up because I think this is part of the BS that's going on social media when it comes to it. Brian Johnson saying, I thought Monken was a stand-up guy, but Saturday his credibility has diminished since Saturday. just name Watson your QB because that's what he was told to do. Here's the thing. It's been reported for months that Watson was the leader in the clubhouse at quarterback by local media, national media, whatever. I don't think Todd Monken was mandated by Jimmy Haslam or Andrew Berry to start Deshaun Watson at quarterback. I think if he's starting Deshaun Watson at quarterback, I think it's because he thinks it's the best guy to lead the Cleveland Browns into the regular season. Now, is he on a short leash? He probably is, because I feel like they probably want to see Shador at some point too to see if he's improved. But I don't think Todd Monken is taking mandates from ownership. He might be. We know it's been the history of the Cleveland Browns, but to say that his credibility has been diminished, I've seen people call him Todd Stefanski. I've seen people calling him out, calling him a liar, calling him this, calling him that. I think it's unwarranted, and I just think it's BS conspiracy theories by some people that are Browns fans, some people that are fans of certain quarterback factions, and it's BS and it's garbage.
Yeah, and to just kind of respond to what he said, I completely disagree with that as well. I think Todd Monken is trying to win, like we talked about earlier in the show. I don't know if you were here. Thank you for joining. We're glad you're here. I think he wants to win, and if he truly believes that Deshaun is going to give him that chance, I believe that's what he's going to do. But I also believe, like Saturday, for example, he goes, Shador's supposed to get the reps. We talked about this a little earlier. It doesn't happen. Whatever. 48 hours, we have to wait for this response. I feel like if we were really seeing a real shift, you would have seen Deshaun getting those first team reps again on Monday, which that's not close to what happened. So and the people that say he's like selling out and just responding to Jimmy Haslam, I wish people would talk about more how Jimmy came out last year and literally called Deshaun Watson a swing and miss. He was a swing and miss.
Right there. What Jeff said. He dogged forward to the media, like legit.
Literally. Like he literally said it was a swing and miss. The owner, like, you could have your thoughts about Jimmy Haslam. All of it's warranted. He's been a bad owner, whatever. But when you go out on record saying that, it's hard for me to think he's really in that room. Like, put him back on the field. I don't think he don't care about the money. We know one thing about Jimmy Haslam. He will spend the money to have a good football team in Cleveland, and that's the one thing I can respect with him. He might not put the money in the right places, hasn't figured out how to do that necessarily just yet. But for people to think that, it's Jimmy in the ear of Todd Monken to play Deshaun Watson, especially after calling him a complete swing and miss. They took the guy off the side of the stadium. Like, it's hard for me to buy into that. Honestly, I don't know if he wanted Shador maybe to take, a bigger step quicker than what's happened, or if he wanted to see that from Deshaun already and it hasn't happened. We don't really know. We're just kind of getting speculation from the media. So let's just let the thing play out. We have a game on Saturday, baby. And yeah, like at this point, I'm a Shador guy, but like I feel Todd Monken, he's trying to win. This is his only chance. I'm telling you, as a head coach in the NFL, he's got to win.
Agreed. So, like I mentioned earlier on the live stream, we have launched a Substack. If you guys have been around with us forever, we've had the Dawgland.com. Just to make it easier on us as writers and everything for content, we moved over to Substack. It's a great website. A ton of people in the Cleveland community who use it. Browns Film Breakdown uses it. I know Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians uses it to cover minor league baseball and draft prospects and all that. So I know it's a great website. Obviously, I've been tinkering around with it the last couple of days, and I got the itch to write, Jake. And you guys can go check this out. I did put a link in the chat to go to the Substack. You can subscribe; it's for free. Don't have to pay for anything, so you guys can go check that out. But I did write an article on players and position battles to watch in the preseason. Just gave a few thoughts on players to watch because, like I said, the focus has been on the quarterback competition, Jake, but there's other battles on the roster going on, and I feel like there's key position battles we have to watch in the preseason besides the quarterback competition, obviously.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are concerned, myself included, about. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, stuff today. I'm going to learn. I love writing too. I'm glad to see you writing again. Always enjoyed your work.
Thank you. And we're
Yeah.
gonna and we're gonna get you set up, Jake, because I know you always got thoughts, and
Oh yeah, yeah. I love
we're gonna
writing, and I love journalism. Love what you put into it. And I'm really excited for to move on to that platform, and it seems to be a really good place, especially for sports fans. It's free to subscribe, so make sure you definitely do that for the Dogland. Some of the best guys at what they do, no doubt about it.
thank
And
you.
for me, the nickel corner, you got it right there on the screen. That's my biggest concern. I want to see a big jump from Miles Harden in this preseason. I might be watching him like every single snap because for me to feel comfortable with him being a full time starting nickel, I got to see something different. And I think Miles Bryant is who he's battling it out with on the depth chart. Is that what it was saying?
Uh, yeah, I think that's what it was. It was.
So
It's hard to say what
yeah,
the
like
because there's
who's
only two
the
corner
best?
spots. So
Because I think McNeil Warren. He did play nickel a little bit at Toledo. Was
yeah,
successful in those snaps. I just have more faith in him already than I do Miles Harden or Miles Bryant.
yeah. I mean, it's. I only mentioned these three guys. Obviously, the Browns lost Darian Mathis today. It looked like a non-contact leg injury, and he immediately went on IR as the Browns picked up a tight end who was formerly with the Eagles. So obviously, Mathis's injury was pretty significant. Um, Hopefully he's okay because obviously he had a tough start to his NFL career in Denver with injuries, and then he comes to Cleveland looking for a fresh start, and he gets hurt. But I only mentioned Harden, Ross, and Trey Avery, who Avery had a nice day to day at camp, broke up a big time potential play for Denzel Boston. But yeah, these guys, I would say this is probably the battle for nickel. They've been bringing in corners. Obviously, I think that's a position room that's Andrew Berry's not done completing by any means, obviously behind Denzel Ward and Tyson Campbell. But this is going to be an interesting battle to watch throughout camp. And I'm with you. We've seen a lot of three safety deployments in camp. It would not shock me if McNeil Warren gets the bulk of the snaps at nickel. Maybe they move Hickman down into that role.
Microsoft,
And
we blocked the site to keep.
what was that? Oh, okay. We just lost Jake for a minute, so hopefully you. But like I was saying, like Emmanuel McNeil Warren would not shock me if he's the nickel corner and gets the bulk of those. Maybe they move Hickman down into that role and use McNeil Warren as a deep safety. But um, yeah, this is going to be a battle to watch. Another battle that I've mentioned in this article is the wide receiver depth. It's we have uh I have four locks in the wide receiver room right now, and you could justifiably put five. Um, but I have Jerry Judy barring a trade, Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, Isaiah Bond. You could probably at least pencil in Tylan Wallace as the fifth receiver. But I don't know how that's going to shape out. I think special teams obviously plays a big role, but I mentioned Tylan Wallace, mentioned Gage Larvidan, Luke Floria, who was the camp darling a year ago, making play after play again in training camp so far, and Cole Wilson, which was a guy that Anthony mentioned stood out at camp last week when he was there in Berea. And I think this is a guy that can make big contributions on special teams. Jake, welcome back.
I'm
Um,
sorry about that. My internet just randomly like blocked the site. Like,
no, you're good. I'm talking about the wide receiver depth now.
okay.
I mentioned I have Judy, Boston, Concepcion, and Isaiah Bond as locks. I could put Tylan Wallace in there, but we honestly don't know. He's obviously made some big plays in training camp, but I have Floria, I have Larvidan, I have Wallace, and I threw in Cole Wilson because I was a guy that caught Jokey's eye last week in training camp when he was there. But uh, we don't know if they're going to keep six receivers. Maybe they'll keep seven receivers, and two or three of these guys will be able to stay. How do you feel about the back end of that wide receiver room?
I mean, honestly, I don't feel very bad about. I like what Wallace can bring to the table. I was listening to your guys' live when Jokey was talking about how Cole Wilson caught his eye. I don't know a whole lot about Cole Wilson, to be completely honest. So I like Luke Floria over a guy like Cole Wilson. I'll keep my eye on him as I have, but I feel like Luke Flory is one of them guys that is just always in the right place at the right time. Feel like he's a complete gritter. He's a solid route runner, and he just seems to be a lot of quarterbacks' favorite target in training camp. So I would expect them to probably keep 6. Like, I feel really good about Denzel and KC. Judy and Bond, obviously. I think not a lot of people are talking about Bond the way that they should be. I expect him to really have a good year this year. Like, I would not be shocked at all if he ends up leading this receiver room, honestly. I don't necessarily expect it to happen, but I wouldn't be shocked at all. Like, I really like what I've seen from him in camp. And with a guy like Jerry Jeudy, I think, having, even if it is Jerry Jeudy, just that veteran presence of a guy that has actually had successful time in the league and has had good years, I'm fine with keeping Jerry Jeudy around. I would expect, if it was me, I would think Tylan Wallace and Luke Floria end up being the other two wideouts.
Yeah, I can honestly see it going any way possible. I think special teams obviously is going to play a big role in who makes those last couple spots. Yeah, I mean, Gage, Cole Wilson has kick return experience, led in college football last year in kick return yards. Floria, obviously the Cinderella story last year, the hamstring injury, crushed that. But so far, so good this year. Would really love to see him make it, being a local product for sure. But it's an intriguing battle. Like, I didn't even mention Cedric Tillman just because I don't think he's making this team.
Yeah, I think Cedric's time's done, to be completely honest with you. I've thrown him out of my mind. Like, he hasn't made any noise for me in camp. I expected, he would have had to put together something special in camp, and I just haven't seen that. So I think it's just time to move on. I mean, he can't stay on the field as it is. I really like Tillman and what he can do as a player. He just can't put it together, man. Sometimes that's what you have at this level.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if he's a guy that teams might be interested in, especially if he comes out in preseason and has a good showing, puts good tape on, that the Browns might flip him for another position of need, like a corner, like a D tackle, if Malik Collins isn't ready and Mike Hall can't stay healthy either. But do they flip him for a position of need? I think that would be something to watch as well throughout preseason.
I mean, yeah, if you could flip him for a corner.
Corner or D tackle depth, honestly, because those are the positions I'm really worried about at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, either one of those would be just fine with me. Those are definitely the two defensive positions that I'm most worried about. And there you got Logan Fano and Tyreek Sapp.
Yep, this was the last one I mentioned. I probably could have gone longer and mentioned Taylor Green and guys, but those are the obvious names. These were positions and players that I really wanted to focus in on in my article. But we looked at Jadeveon Clowney potentially to come in and join the edge room. Obviously, he decided to sign with Houston. So as of right now, and we're still waiting on an Alex Wright update because he had a hand injury during camp today. Hopefully it's nothing serious, but you have Jared Verse, you have Alex Wright, you have Isaiah McGuire. You don't have a fourth edge right now. I'll even throw a guy that has made plays during training camp so far, Julian Okwara, into this discussion. And that's for the fourth edge. I mentioned Logan Fano and Tyreek Sapp just because they were two of our top UDFAs that we brought in after the draft. The fourth edge is obviously up in the air. They could add somebody via trade or free agency still, but I feel like these guys are the leaders in the clubhouse, and you can even throw Okwara in just because of the way he's performed throughout training camp. But the fourth edge spot on the roster, I think is going to be a fun competition to watch.
Oh, I'm with you 100%. That's one that I've had my eye on, throughout this whole process. I mean, let's hope Alex Wright is okay. I really like Alex Wright. Fun player, just needs to stay healthy. And so let's just hope, that hand injury is nothing significant. He's back out there very soon, because I'm already kind of in the camp that wants another veteran edge. Who that's going to be, I'm not necessarily sure yet. I love to throw the name Bosa out there, but let's be real. I don't think he's going to retire that whole thing that's, out there. I think he's just waiting for the right team to call, which is not the Cleveland Browns, unfortunately. But, you never know who's going to end up being cut. I just feel like another veteran presence in this room would be huge, but if I had to sit here today, I think Logan Fano is going to make this team.
Yeah, I feel like if you follow the money, and I think that's one of the biggest things when you're doing roster construction, he got 310,000 guaranteed as a UDFA. I think was the biggest guarantee that the Browns gave out to the UDFA's. Obviously, he's Spencer's brother, was impactful on that defensive line in Utah. But yeah, he would be the leader in the clubhouse if you're following strictly the guaranteed money, because that does play into it, I think. But it'll be an interesting battle. I mentioned in our Twitter space earlier, Yannick Ngakwe is making noise about a potential comeback. I feel like I heard his name connected to the Browns a couple years ago as a possible edge to go opposite Miles, but obviously he's bounced around throughout the NFL and he's coming back from an injury. Could he be an option? Possibly. I could see him wanting to be like the bows around waiting for a contender to come along.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like kind of in the camp right now. I mean, we're kind of in like a fun period with the Browns. Like I will say, this is like the first time in my life. I'm curious to know if it's kind of the same for you. I feel like I'm optimistic about how they're building this thing, like from the ground up, and that's the reason why I'm so like when it comes to this edge room, like another veteran in the room, because we have a lot of young people on this line, lots of young players. Not only on just the line, but along with, that linebacker corpse. And, it's just one of those things where I feel like it goes a long way when you have veterans in the room, especially with young players. I do believe that, Schlesinger is a complete superstar and he'll be just fine getting, everything he needs out of his defense. But, it's nice to have a positional guy that's been around this league and can make plays and help you along the way. And show you the ropes of the NFL. It's a different game. We see guys every single year that dominate in college football and just can't figure it out at the next level. So when you can get guys that, like I said, I can't throw a name out at you right now because we don't know who's going to be cut, things of that nature. We don't know if there's trade packages being worked out. But I just think it would go a long way, especially on that other side if we had another veteran.
Yeah, without a doubt. You mentioned how the Browns are building a roster. I threw it in the chat asking how people felt about it. Jeff says they're young and talented. It's built well, except one damn spot, and that's honest. You look at the overall roster, like they're very young, but they're talented. Like they've reshaped the offensive line, they've reshaped the wide receiver room. You feel really good about Judkins and Sampson in the backfield. Harold Fannin at tight end. The defense that they've been building, obviously with some of the young guys up front, like you mentioned, the linebacker core, you feel pretty good about. And I always feel good about that position group every year, Jake, because of Jason Tarver. Because since he's been here, no matter who's been in that linebacker room, they always produce. Whether it was Mac Wilson and Sione Takitaki, all the way up to this year with Carson Swesinger, Quincy Williams, even Mascarenas Arnold, like that guy's made some noise in training camp. Can't wait to see him on the field. The secondary, obviously, the safety room, you feel really good about. The corner room outside of the starters is uneasy, but I know Barry's going to keep working at that and keep looking to add bodies to that room because that's just what he does, and he was a corner himself. I don't know if he feels completely sold on the likes of the guys that are in that room behind Ward and Campbell.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to. But the one thing I will say about Barry is he's known there's been, things that haven't been great before offensive line last year, and he kind of just let it roll. And go back to what Jeff said. I feel you 100%. Number one, I want to say that. But I also love how we're kind of setting it up. Like, no matter who starts this year, Deshaun or Shador, I think the best scenario possible would be, Shador wins the job and ends up being your franchise quarterback. I think we would be seeing a lot more from him right now if that were the case. But I loved how they went out there. They got 2 first-round wide receivers, in my opinion. You drafted a complete stud in Fannin last year. You went and got a veteran presence on this line to hopefully gel and fix some of these issues we were seeing last year, and brought in what we drafted. We drafted Barber, Parker out of Alabama,
and Fano.
Yeah. So then you drafted 3 linemen. So you're building a beautiful core for whoever your future quarterback's going to be. And for me, like say the Browns go win, let's say we go 6-11 this year. So you're sitting at what, 6th pick maybe?
Maybe.
I am giving Miami, they're going to be up there. The Jets, I think, they got 3 first-round picks, and that's what makes me nervous because I think the Jets are kind of built.
The Jets will dictate that draft because of we have 2 1s, they have 3. So if we try to move up in the draft and the Jets are right around there, they can trump any offer that we have.
Well, and but see that the thing that I love though is I will go on record saying this because I believe it. I know a lot of people every year, it's going to be a stat quarterback class. If you actually study the draft, you knew damn well last year was not going to be a stat quarterback class. This is a stat. This is a every 2-decade type of class you're going to get out of the class. I won't be shocked at all. Honestly, if we see 6+ starting quarterbacks in the first round, but I don't want to be the guys sitting in the in the 20s
you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to sit there and get Lenoris Sellers or let's just say, for example, Darian Mensah, who I like, and I can't wait to see him at Miami, but or even Julian Sayin, which I know a lot of people have him as their 2nd or 3rd ranked quarterback. I don't see it, but you don't want to be sitting there settling for the 5th or 6th best quarterback. We've been in that situation, and we took Johnny Manziel or we took Brandon Wheaton. It's you want to be in position if the Browns like Dante Moore, Arch Manning, Drew Mestamaker, whoever, you want to be in position to get your number 1 guy.
Yep, CJ Carr, I'd throw him in the mix.
He's in my top 5.
I don't think Julian's – unless we see – which I do expect Julian to be a lot better this year. I just think he would be very smart to stay another year because then you're talking about him probably going into the season as, the number 1 QB prospect. Hey, the one thing I'll say about Lenoris, he needs to put it together, obviously. Probably not a more intriguing player in this entire draft. If he can figure it out, I'm all for it. But I don't need to just see a little improvement. I have to see a lot of improvement.
Oh, yeah. Without question.
I'll be watching a lot of South Carolina because of him, because I want to see him become that kind of product. It'd be great if he puts his name up there with Dante Moore and Arch Manning. Then you're sitting there with 3. I think CJ Carr can be that guy. I do expect him to blow up and have another fantastic year, and I think he will go to the draft. Like you said, Mestamaker, another guy I really like. CJ Bailey, Bill kind of got me on that train. Really excited to watch NC State this year because of him. 6'6", good athlete. The only problem I have with him right now, and I can't sit here and pretend that, I was watching a shit ton of NC State last year, but just from film, it seems like he can make every throw on the field, but it seems like it's just a mindset thing. Sometimes he questions things as he's deciding to go there with the ball, which can, lead him off his wideouts and make bad decisions. But he's another intro. This QB class is going to be fantastic. Yeah. Yeah.
We've been talking about it for the last year, so it's not surprising. But
we're looking forward to it.
I will say, Alex Hale has his QB big board at the ready. I know he's got to make the video and everything, and him and Jokey will sort that out. But that's coming here, hopefully in the next few weeks before the college season starts. So I'm anxious. He already told me Sam Levitt is not in his top 10, so that's a little teaser. But yeah, we're looking forward to that. But there's a lot of quarterbacks. Last year, we were talking about a lot of these guys that are in this year's class because we thought some of them might break out, have great runs, and go pro. Arch Manning, Lenoris Sellers. I'm sure there was a couple other guys that are in this current the 2027 class. Dante Moore, yeah, he was going to come out, and there's that rumor that he pretty much told the Jets, "F you, I'm not coming out because you guys are going to draft me." But yeah, the quarterback class is intriguing. We'll obviously see how it all shakes out starting in a couple weeks. But yeah, the Browns are shaping up nicely with their overall roster. Quarterback obviously is still a question mark. There's some other positions that the future depth is of concern. But Andrew Berry, for as much criticism as he has gotten, deserved, he's done great. He did great in the 2026 draft. We'll see how he does with this 2025 draft. The 2026 draft looks promising, but we'll see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, and I'm the first person I've beat up on Andrew Berry forever. I've argued with the man right next to me on this live stream quite a few times about just being done with him. And I gotta say, he seems to have figured it out. I love what he's building right now. I think it's important that we look at the foundation he's building, especially offensively, to go and get that next quarterback. I wouldn't
Roger.
I'll get you a cozy, a LeBron one though.
We'll get you something. We'll get you something nice, Roger. Thanks for subscribing, brother.
And so yeah, like I feel like he deserves some credit. Like the one thing I don't get about people is like when you're wrong on something, I love being proven wrong. Like I love it, like everybody likes being right, but when I'm talking about my own teams, I want to be wrong because, most of the time we don't have a very bright anything, so I love being wrong about a whole lot with teams in Cleveland. And Andrew Berry, as of right now, if we're basing this off the foundation that I'm seeing him building on both sides of the ball, I like the hire he made Monk, and I'll tell you why. Not only at first I was a little skeptical. Obviously, I love the staff he built. I think that showed me a lot. I think a lot of them guys coming with him and not going to New York with Harbaugh told me a lot. So that's kind of where I'm at. And what DW4 finally? Yeah. Hey, he was in Jacksonville with me, man. That's the last time we seen Deshaun play up and live. We won that game. He was horrific, terrible quarterback play, but we won.
We won. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Hey, give me some wins. I'm happy. But no, I just think. I guess I was just going kind of back to Jeff's point about besides one position, completely understandable. Last year, you're just throwing a dart at the board, hoping it sticks. If Shador, well, I'll just cancel out Shador because he's not ever going to be a successful backup quarterback with everything that probably comes with him. But if you got that in Dylan Gabriel, which, you're seeing those reps with the twos now, the supercomputer, he's not a starting quarterback, which is why I didn't want him in the third round.
Right.
But if he ends up being our backup quarterback for the next half decade, that's a great pick by Andrew Day.
I think so too. I mean, I wouldn't have taken him in the third round, but if he can be our backup long term, it's good for him because we've seen how backups get compensated throughout the last few years. But I mean, it means he's doing something right, and
he plays safe. That's kind of what a lot of backups do.
Yeah, without a doubt. Jake, do you got anything else you want to talk about regarding the Browns before we get on out of here?
No, just more about I'm excited about Saturday. I'm ready to see, like we talked about a little bit, the positional groups. Really looking forward to see some of these linebackers, secondary, obviously. You got the QB battle going on. That will be very interesting and intriguing to see if Deshaun or Shador were to get the start and just come out and be off the field in one series. That would be telling. Don't expect it to happen. But overall, it's so great to have football back, man. I love, talking Browns, everything. I love being a part of the Dawgland and riding with them and, been a part of their draft show here for the last 2 years now. They do amazing work, so make sure you like and subscribe.
Yeah, for sure. Go check out Jake's podcast, Scarlet to the Land. He does an incredible job. They cover Ohio State and the Cleveland Browns. They've even talked some Cavaliers, obviously, during the whole LeBron saga. But go check that out. Go check out him out on social media at Big Jake CLE. He is a great friend. Has been for a long time. The plan is, Jake, you'll be back on the Dawgland this coming weekend with Anthony for postgame.
Yeah, Anthony, the postgame show.
Yep. Because I will be on assignment. I will be at Cedar Point with my girlfriend and her kids. So hopefully I'll be able to listen to some of the game while I'm up there. But I will definitely try to hop in on the postgame show and talk with y'all.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Enjoy Cedar Point. That's one thing about living in Ohio that I miss. I used to go up there all the time. Let me know how that new dragster is.
I don't ride. I go for the food and the vibes, brother.
Okay.
I'm not a roller coaster guy.
Oh, I'm a ride warrior, baby. So, yeah, enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. I love it out there.
I will for sure, man. But, guys, I don't know if me and Anthony will be back for another live stream during the week. But Saturday after the game, Anthony and Jake will be here for post-game recapping Browns versus Bears, the preseason opener. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video on the way out. It's much appreciated. Anthony just said, technology willing. We will be back tomorrow night. Yep, that's the plan, Anthony. We will be here to talk more Browns. Hopefully we have a starting quarterback for the preseason opener to discuss. But in the meantime, subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all our social media platforms. Go over to our Substack, thedogland.substack.com. Subscribe. It is free. Go watch the Barking Browns podcast next. over on their YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to help them get to 2,000 subscribers. And as always,